Okay, today we're going to be waterproofing a Pro Pointer. Very simple, at least in theory. If you screw it up, well, you're SOL pretty much. This will void your warranty, so if it's still under warranty and you're concerned about something happening to it, I suggest you do not do this. If you have no concerns, please, by all means, go for it. Obviously, you'll need a Pro Pointer, this Garrett Pro Pointer. Some goop. This is amazing goop. This particular one happens to be for RV. You can use household, you can use the plumbing, all of it's waterproof, all of it's weatherproof. Just make sure that it's clear, because the other option is that nasty white. I don't think you'd want that on your black Pro Pointer. And you'll need some plumber's putty. This one here is just a regular plumber's putty, non-mastic, which basically means it won't harden. Attaching a lanyard. This is actually just paracord. It's a little bit thicker. So, in addition to the lanyard, I have some clips here that I'll use. I'm not going to make this obviously 10 feet long or whatever. I'll clip it down, tie that on, so it'll just hang from my belt loop or something like that. Let's get started. The first thing you want to do is the battery housing. Go ahead and unscrew this all the way, and you want to make note of where or how the orientation of the battery is. Now, it's probably a good time to replace the 9-volt battery, because the process that I use, I actually goop the seam here in addition to using a plumber's putty. Obviously, you don't want to put the original battery back in. This is actually a relatively new battery, but if you put your old battery back in and it dies on your next outing, you'll have to basically scrape the goop off, open up the battery pack, and redo that whole part. Now, this goop stuff, I believe, takes a few hours to solidify, so you may be down for a few hours if you don't have a backup. So with no further ado, we're going to take a little bit of plumber's putty here, and it's going to go on the threads, just on the outside. There is an O-ring in here. I would not touch the O-ring. Of course, my phone's going off. Just apply some plumber's putty right here in the threads. This particular putty I'm using is not the most flexible, so it's not the most user-friendly. There is some out there that is a lot easier to work with. This is crap I bought at Walmart. It was like $2. So what this does is it helps seal the threads, and in my particular case I'm not too concerned about this, because I will be using goop on the outside as well. So bear with me. Alright, so basically I will go ahead and put the battery back in. As you can see, we've got putty around the threads. Go ahead and slowly line that back up. It's easy to cross thread when you've got putty on the threads, because it does obviously take up space, and you don't want the plastic threads to overlap and thread together. As you'll see, the excess squeezes out, so just a little bit's all you need. Go ahead and clean up the edge here. It's also important to note, I forgot to mention this beforehand, I did clean up the Pro Pointer with just a paper towel that is very lightly dampened. And you just basically rub off all the dirt where your contact points are at your button, the light, the speaker, and the back side, because that's where your goop is going to go. Goop will stick better given those clean circumstances. So take your goop. I'm going to start with a dab on my finger and go right over the light. Just a dab. Next, this stuff stinks. You're not supposed to get it on your fingers, but whatever. And using a well-ventilated area. Put a dab. I'm going to go right into the speaker. Now, it's important to note that you do have some creases near your speaker hole. Go ahead and generously lube that up and get that going. Next, what I'm going to do is the seal right here, just right on the outside, just a little bit on the outside here. This is where it starts getting tricky because this stuff tends to want to get tacky quick. If you can't see that, I apologize. Some people say you don't have to go around the battery housing, but hey, there's a crack there, there's a seam there. I'm going to go ahead and fill it. Better safe than $100-something short. I'll let that dry for a second and I'll be back. This has started to get a little bit more tacky, so I can go ahead and proceed. I went ahead and put some plumber's putty over the button. Now we're going to go ahead and apply the goop on top of the plumber's putty. The reason I do that is because, man, when this stuff gets thick and hardens up a little bit, and it just makes it easier if there's plumber's putty on it. It acts kind of like a release agent. And what I'll do is go ahead and apply a nice generous gob right there. And there you go. So, with that, the reason I left this string long is so that I can cut it to size. However, in this meantime, I'm going to go ahead and goop up some of this knotting. Spread that around, and hopefully what this will do is help keep this rope, this paracord, in place, keep it from slipping and or fraying on rocks and whatnot. The reason for the lanyard is basically there's current, you drop it, if it's attached to you somehow, somewhere, you might not lose it. There's no guarantees on that. I haven't lost one yet, but apparently there are horror stories out there of people who actually lose these in cornfields and in the woods and even on the beach. You'd think you'd be able to find it, but sometimes you just can't, especially in water situations. So, with that, that's crude, but it will work. I hope. We'll see.